My guest today is Maria Marshall, who is the founder and CEO of Gaiagoddess Lifestyle, an eco-feminist brand, an in-person and online community for women of all ages. Gaiagoddess was created to support the divine feminine awakening on the planet. They offer a virtual sanctuary of online content, which is augmented by in-person sessions, retreats, and events. Welcome to Lifeology.
Thank you so much, James. Thanks for having me.
I am looking forward to this. We had a great call, a great talk in the pre-call. So you have so many wonderful things that you're going to inspire us with today. Now, before we get into Gaiagoddess, didn't you go to the Parsons School of Design for fashion?
I went to a lot of schools. Okay.
Okay.
I was musical theater first at Emerson.
Okay.
FIT, 2 degrees from there. And then recession hit, no jobs. Went back to school for interior design. Yeah.
Wow. So obviously very creative background from all different versions, expressions, which is wonderful. How did you transition into an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's an interesting story. I never imagined myself an entrepreneur. I think, given my childhood experiences, there was a lot of fear of failure. And what I noticed that I did in life was things I could easily nail. I also very genuinely wanted to be a mother, an involved mother, and a wife, but I never really explored myself outside of those roles. And I'm a great writer. I didn't even know I liked to write until I started pitching in on my kids' homework assignments or the college essays, or I had to write a eulogy for my husband at the time, I never thought about myself. So I was just, wrapped up in my family. And then what created the impetus for becoming an entrepreneur really was leaving a codependent relationship. My kids are out of the house and my mother died and my world just blew apart. And I didn't know who I was. And in the process of discovering that, we talk about the divine feminine, that aspect of us that is more than just a human body and an ego, right? We have light and love inside of us, and we're all part, right, of something bigger. So in the process of me going through this whole transformative dark night of the soul, which lasted 6 years, I was inspired. I had dreams. I had visions. And then this work I had always done with women made sense to me because it was like, wow, I can do this on a bigger scale, and I can bring everything that I had to go through, all the pain and all the suffering, and let women know nobody's alone. We all go through things and we can support each other, in doing so, because the old paradigm is there aren't enough good men to go around. And if you're in business with another attractive woman, you got to compete against her. And that's all based in fear. It's unfortunate, but it's based in fear and lack. So
yes, as if there are not enough blessings in the world for the universe or God to give us. And so as we know that when we really think about that logically, if for me it's God, for people it's the universe, it's Gaia, it's many, many things. But it's interesting. There's so many blessings that are all around us. And so no one can take your blessing because your blessing has been specifically divine or specifically provided for you when you need it.
Yeah. And not everybody believes that, right?
Sure.
And if you really can embody and believe that, and you're creating from a whole different perspective than if you believe that there's lack and you're non-deserving.
Exactly. Yeah. You talk about 6 years in the dark night of the soul. And for those of you who don't know that, that's based off of writing of a poem. Was it a poem? I can't remember if it's a poem or a story. But to talk about the darkest part of our life and becomes the transformative aspect of it. When you talk about that for 6 years that you experienced it, was there one particular moment that gave you that ability to, I don't say snap out of it, but to find your fortitude, find your resilience, find your strength?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, dark night of the soul can be more than just what we have in this lifetime. And it's oftentimes childhood, right? When we don't have the cognitive capacities to rationalize why our parents divorced, and we're like, it's me, I'm the problem, so it could also just be past experiences from other lifetimes, if you're open to that. I am a believer that we come back many, many times to learn and experience as a soul. But you know, the dark night for me was really about up and down, but really was about going into the trauma and the things that I didn't even know consciously. Like how do
Hmm.
you heal something you didn't know happened to you at age 7? You
Sure.
know, spirit won't reveal it to you until you're ready, because it can knock you off your feet, and that could
Certainly
cause
can.
it could cause a mental breakdown, right? So
Yeah.
we have to want to be seeking, right? And in my
Hmm.
case, leaving my marriage, my mother dying, my mother was, to a great extent, you know, she was a martyr. She was widowed at at 4, no, she was 36 with 5 kids.
Oh my
So,
goodness. Wow.
and she was a beautiful woman, but it was all about doing, 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 and
Mm.
proving herself and perfectionism and all this other stuff. So
Hmm.
that's what I learned as a woman. And then she's no longer there and no longer taking care of her and managing her medical care. She struggled with breast cancer for a while.
Mm.
And then I had to go, whoa, who am I? Why am I even here? Now that she's gone, what am I? I never really wanted to be here
Yeah.
on some level anyways. I don't know if that you've
Yeah.
ever heard about people who are like,
Sure.
kind of don't, like, I hope this is team last lifetime, you know, for Earth anyways. There's
It's
a
very
density
common.
here
Yes.
that's not easy for
Sure.
everybody. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so I started delving into these experiences that were coming up through me, through my memory, through
Mhm.
my subconscious. I had a hypnosis session because I knew something happened to me and I couldn't
Mhm.
see it, but I wanted to write about it. So I wrote about it, 10 pages for one of my books. And then I went to hypnosis, and it happened exactly as I thought I was making it up. Exactly.
Wow.
So,
Interesting.
like, I've had some
Wow.
really interesting experiences with hypnosis, past life regression,
Hmm.
channels of the Akashic records. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so much out there that is beyond, you know, our normal third
Yes.
dimensional reality that we can tap into if you're open. You know,
Sure.
what's the harm in being open? It either feels
Yeah.
right or it doesn't. You know, so many people are afraid of these things, woo-hoo, and I'm like all about woo-hoo. I've
That's
learned
awesome.
to, yeah, it's helped me a lot.
Yes. And I know many people that it's helped as well. And so I'm glad to hear that you offered this for people as well. Because I know you said before that with what you were going through, there are so many things you didn't get. And so when we transition into talking about Gaia Goddess Lifestyle in just a moment, you'll be able to share all the different things that your organization or company can provide for people that you didn't get as well.
Yeah.
Maria, we were talking earlier about just what you were able to get and what you weren't able to get when it comes to your own encouragement, your own change. Tell me more about Gaia Goddess Lifestyle and how that empowers so many women with all the different services that you all provide.
Yeah. Well, you know, for me as a child, and, you know, I was very curious about existential questions. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember, you know, what happens to we when we die? What are past life experiences? Is that really a thing? And so, you know, I had these unanswered spiritual questions, but I also feel that I lacked the practical day to
Mm-hmm.
day. How do you manage finances? How do you pay
Yeah.
taxes? How do you invest? How do you invest in yourself? Like I would, you know, if you knew me 10 years ago, you'd say, this woman, I cannot believe she's investing in a business and has done all this work and has, you know, spent money and time and energy, because she was afraid of her own shadow. So,
Wow.
you know, to me, that's such a miraculous transition. People would ask me what I dreamed back then, and I'd be like, dream?
Yeah.
I know what they are, but you mean I'm supposed to have dreams? And I couldn't dare to dream, because what I believed about myself is that I wasn't worthy. I wasn't lovable.
Mm,
And if I failed, that would just confirm what I already believed about myself. So many women are living in fear, in a shell, haven't healed, maybe aren't in relationships that encourage them to grow,
sure.
and all that's silly. You what, energy healing, blah. You know, I mean, all their cognitive therapy. You don't need to go to a therapist. Just be happy. You know, like,
Sure.
really, right? You
Yeah.
know,
Very
and so
minimizing.
Gaia Goddess gives many opportunities, not just, you know, to discover, to cultivate a practice of self love. Because honestly, I think that is the greatest healing in the world. If you love yourself, then you know you can have anything. You can, because you deserve it. You're worthy of it. And then you can start manifesting from, vision boards do work, but you have to believe
Yeah,
that
they
you
do.
can have that
Mhm.
and you're worthy of it. And then it goes
Yeah.
on your board, and don't be surprised when it shows up. These are not ridiculous concepts because our minds are very powerful. So the thoughts we
Mhm.
think, the actions we take, the words we say to ourselves, I am worthy, or I look horrible, or
Our core
nobody will
beliefs.
ever
Sure.
love me because,
Hmm.
I don't blah, blah, blah. So I
Hmm.
think that Gaia Goddess is first, my primary goal would be to nurture every woman so that she can come into her own self-worth. And I joke, I'm not perfect in my self-love. I still have body issues. I say when I'm levitating off the ground like this, you'll know I am enlightened because I have conquered my body issues. But I've come a long way,
Yeah.
and we don't have to be perfect. And that's also where
Yeah.
the self-love comes in, is like, how do I nurture myself? How do I
Yes.
feed my soul? How do I be happy? How do I claim my life? Because it is my
Yes.
life, not my children's, not my husband's. I came here alone and I'm leaving here alone, right? First
When you,
responsibility I have
when,
is to my soul.
yes, exactly. When you compare your older version or younger version rather to your current version, what's different and what's the same?
Well, I would say I have a very loving, open heart. That's the same. I was born
Hmm.
that way.
Good.
I would say I was always a good communicator. I would say I always had a desire to help people, and they showed up. I didn't know why, but they did, and I always loved doing that. What is different? I don't look for validation anymore. I do
Good.
not create, oh, perfect hostess, and I've got this
Yeah.
year's designer earrings on, and
Good.
so I must be worthy. I don't play
Yeah.
that game anymore. I don't care what people think about me at
Good.
all. Like, if you
Good.
like me, great. You don't like me, that's fine
Hmm.
too, because what you think of me is none of my business. It's what I think about myself. And
Hmm.
also the courage, I think, that came out of, like, my ex-husband was a father figure. My dad died when I was young. I felt nurtured. I felt provided for.
Hmm.
I had the courage to leave that, and it wasn't easy. And then I had the
I'm sure.
courage to stand up to him, and still have to. And that's, always a pain, right?
Hmm.
When it's
Hmm.
over. And I had the
Hmm.
courage to start a business, believing, like, a big business. And that is
Yeah.
massive to me. If I can do that, any woman can do anything. That's what I think. Really, it
That's
blows my
wonderful.
mind today. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
With
Thank you.
Gaia Goddess, tell me more about the different aspects of the divine feminine. So some people may know what that is, some people may not. So explain more to us what the divine
Yeah.
feminine is.
Well, we all, as beings, humans, have feminine and masculine in us, right? We all have
Hmm.
energies
Hmm.
that lend more towards the feminine, more towards the masculine. And the divine feminine is the aspect of the feminine that knows she is of God. The divine
Hmm.
masculine is the aspect of the masculine and knows he is of God. And when we
Yes.
balance the masculine and feminine within ourselves and within our culture, an amazing thing happens. Consciousness
Hmm.
expands, healing begins, the planet's healed, and we have been at an imbalance. I always say, not at the cost of the masculine. Someone cannot
Hmm.
take your power away unless you willingly give it. Yes,
Correct.
there was the suffragettes and they had to fight for the right to vote, and yes, all this other stuff. But, like, in your own life today, no one can take your power away. So the divine
Sure.
masculine for me is for everybody to kind of know we are one. We are these
Mhm.
beautiful, perfect beings, and we are creators. We are co-creators with the universe. So we're not just these bodies. We're not just, oh, how much money can I accumulate in this lifetime and then I die? It's really
Mhm.
like a journey, and it's a journey, not just of a human, but it's a divine aspect of us in a body having a human experience. So that brings
Mhm.
a little bit of spirit. Even if you don't believe in spirituality, you're still living a spiritual existence, whether you know it or not,
Sure. That's
just
right.
in
Yeah. Yeah.
choosing and using your words and using your thoughts. You're creating, you're constantly creating, good and
Yes.
bad,
And it's like,
so
and it's like, Yeah, in psychology, we teach that, like, just going back to, I guess, piggybacking off what you're saying about the empowerment aspect of it. You're right. Nobody can decide, or nobody can make you feel a certain way. So thoughts create emotions, emotions create behavior. I remember I read about Viktor Frankl, a very famous psychologist who was in the concentration camps. And so he was in the concentration camps, and he realized, for one, what was his reason for continuing to live on. But he also realized that it didn't matter what the Nazi captors did to him. They could do whatever they did to him, but he chose how he perceived it and what he would do with that information. So yes, externally, we may not be able to change our
Wow.
environments, but what we can do is change how we think about it. So that's where our self-talk comes in. Somebody says something to you or does something to you, going back to what you're saying, I am worthy. What they say is their issue. It's not my issue. So learning how to recognize the external aspects of the boundaries that we set, as far as if we're in danger, we remove ourselves. But if we can't remove ourselves, then we remove ourselves in our brain, in our mind. And that's where we have that self-empowerment of saying, regardless of what happens to me, I am loving, I'm whole, I am safe, whatever the mantra is for you. But that's the difference of
Yeah.
learning how to be able to express yourself internally when our external feels like it can't be changed at all.
Yeah, yeah. And even if, like, I was thinking about this exact thing yesterday because I was feeling quite threatened by a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I have some mantras and I work with some people's affirmations that get me out of fear. And fear is always a liar.
Good.
But, like, it takes a bit to understand it. And I was kind of imagining myself teaching this to another woman. And she said, well, I'm not safe. I'm getting beaten on by my husband. But there is an aspect of the soul that is always safe. That's there's a part of you
Yes.
that is always safe, even if you leave, you leave the
Mm-hmm.
planet. You
Yes.
are always part of God, and you're always in existence, and you're
That's
always
right.
safe. So, I mean, that's not everybody's there yet, but I
Mm-hmm.
had to keep reminding myself of, like, who I'm not, this human that can be manipulated or controlled or stolen
Yes.
from. It's not going to happen anyways, but I really am this. This is what I am, and this is why I'm here,
Yes.
and I'm going to
I'll
focus on
choose to be
that.
this person.
But the Nazi Germany case, wow, that sounds like a fascinating book, because if anybody
Yeah.
could change their mindset in the midst of that, I
Yes.
can't imagine
Yes.
anything harder,
I know.
right?
Yes, I know. It's a fascinating story, and so I always recommend for people to read that. Returning back to Gaia Goddess, so I know you do online course, or online sessions, in-person sessions, and you also do retreats. Tell me more about that.
So we're really just starting out. You got me at the beginning. We just launched in November. We are building our content library for our Rose Gold membership, which will be a paid membership offered down the road. Right now, we just have a free membership, and the free membership is like a virtual sanctuary. So it allows people for free to come tap into our community, maybe
Nice.
experience Reiki, sound healing, hypnosis with perhaps Dr. Tranquility, and also get a complimentary sound bath meditation monthly. In addition, there's blogs, there's newsletters, and then there's a bunch of podcasts and interviews and some just free content in our library that's really, really great. As we transition to offering classes, whether it be astrology or breath work with Kathleen Booker, I hope she's on. I work with her and love her dearly. So women are very interested in learning different things, herbalism. They also like
Mhm.
certifications, so they like to be certified. Some of them collect certifications, but great. If that's what you love. I would like to be certified in breath work, for instance. So I would be
Sure.
the first one on my website to sign up for that. In addition to that, with the Rose Gold membership down the road, we will also be having events. So we had, during my launch party, a discussion on women in business, and we had Lisa Wang from Bad Beep Empire. I'm not going to say the word,
Mhm.
and but she's a boss and knows what she's talking about. And we had Laura Day, who is a New York Times bestselling author and
Yeah.
Intuit. So she's talking about business. And then me, brand new baby in the business of world,
That's
talking, and
amazing.
moderated by my executive coach, who has 15 years in wellness, who has her own business coaching
Nice.
female entrepreneurs. And it was a
Nice.
fascinating hour of women needing to invest in businesses, because right now most of venture capital, almost all of it, goes to men. And how do we change a planet if men are the only ones investing in businesses, and even businesses that make things for females' bodies? You know, like it's been a little bit antiquated, right? Women also come from, the way we create is different. The energy we bring to the table, you know, so we're looking to find more balance in the world with business, and having more women funded and having more women empowered in business, but also healing as well, because how can we create if we don't think we're worthy of it? So, you know, there's so many ways to work with energy and healing and empowerment and inspiration. And that's what we hope to provide. And then down the road, community is a really big piece of it. So let's say you're a woman in business, you've got your forum on your app. And hey, did you get your brand logo done? Oh my God, it looks great. I'm struggling with this. What do you think? You know, or you're going through a divorce, so am I. What stage are you at? Oh my God, I didn't think about that. Oh, I'll have to ask my lawyer. You know, we need to come together and support each other, because there are some things that we can bring to the table. And also it feels kind of like, you know, just like a loving sistership, that we could have other women support us, some that are experts in the field. Even I went to Naomi Watts, had a symposium on menopause, and more women are getting involved in this field, because up to now it's just been men talking about it, and the information didn't exist. So, you know, I think women taking more and more control of their lives, their destiny, and the destiny of this planet too, you know. Because we bring life into the world. You know?
Literally. That is one thing I've been really, I'm very honored to hear all the great things that are happening with you. And I can't wait to check in with you again in the future to see how Gaia Goddess Lifestyle continues to empower women. Maria Marshall, thank you so much for being a fantastic guest on my show today. If my viewers and listeners want to find out more information about you, to learn all the things about Gaia's Goddess Lifestyle and to be a part of your community, where will they find all this information online?
Well, we're on online would be www.gaiagoddesslifestyle.com. And there you can learn about our retreats, the upcoming classes, look at our library. We have Instagram, Facebook. Our Instagram will promote our sanctuaries, our free virtual sanctuaries, which are monthly. So that is also Gaia Goddess Lifestyle. And there's a lot of information. I talk a bit. I will also be sharing Monday affirmations with sound bowls. So there's a lot to tap into. And some of our other practitioners and the newsletters are very informative. So I encourage them to also, anybody to check those out as well. They're very, very helpful and informative. So thank you so much, James. I really enjoyed our talk.
It was my pleasure. And I'm super excited to hear once again how things will continue to explode for you all. Congratulations on all of your own self-work and how you're helping women as well. My viewers and listeners also know that if they can't find this information any other place, simply go to the show notes at jamesmillerlifeology.com, and I'll connect you with Maria Marshall and Gaia Goddess Lifestyle. Thank you so much for being a fantastic guest on the show today.
Thank you.